Hey, I'm Karnik, and this is Star Wars Armada Explained. We're going to be looking at the generic officer card, Intel Officer. Intel Officer, how do you know he equips to the officer upgrade slot? You look at the bottom left hand corner of his card, and you'll see the officer icon there. He costs 7 points. It reads, Intel Officer, while attacking, after you roll your attack pool, you may exhaust this card to choose one defense token. If that token is spent during this attack, discard that token. This card does have one clarification. It reads, a ship with this card equipped can choose one of its own defense tokens when resolving this card. Why would you want to do that, you ask? Well, there's a specific combo. I'll get into that in just 1 minute. Let's go over how the card works. So because how the card specifically is written, when is the timing of this card? Well, even though it says specified there, most attack steps, most cards are just specified while attacking, usually meaning that you can kind of do the timing whenever you want. Intel Officer is actually extremely specific in the window in which you can activate this card. When is it? Let's walk through it. We're going to say this ISD is an ISD 2, and it's going to be shooting at this MC80, and he's going to be shooting from front into the side. And so in ISD2, we're going to say there's no obstruction, there's no other cards, effects, or abilities that are preventing it from rolling the 4 red die and 4 blue die that it has. The first thing is you check and make sure that you have line of sight from your target, in which case we do. We've got from the front to the yellow dot there. We're clearly within arc. We also are in range. We're going to be utilizing we're definitely in red range, which is the red circle. Blue range, we're definitely getting into the arc zone. And if we, needed to throw any black dice, we would need to be at close range, which we are not. We are firmly in medium range. But we do have clear line of sight, no obstruction, nothing else. So we roll our initial attack pool, which is 4 reds, 4 blues. That is our initial attack pool. Now, before you do anything else, before you use any commander abilities, before you use any cards to reroll any die or add any other effects, etc., you need to, or even before you even add Confire, you have to declare the use of Intel Officer. Now, here we already have like a really good roll. But Intel Officer has to be declared while attacking, after you roll your initial attack pool, and then before you do anything else. And then you exhaust this card and say, okay, I've rolled my initial pool. Before I do any modifications, I'm now exhausting Intel Officer. You survey the defense tokens the enemy ship has, which is 1 contain, 1 brace, and 2 redirects in this situation. Well, the token that is likely going to be able to reduce, this damage we've rolled, which is 8, down to 4 is brace, But otherwise, if we try to target another token, we may not get as much benefit from all this dice we just rolled. So we're going to say, hey, I'm going to target your brace. If you use that brace, you'll gain its effect, but then it's discarded after this attack if you decide to use it. And then you can go on with any other modifications like, hey, maybe I've got quad battery turrets. That's when you then add the 1 blue die from that. That's when you then like, oh, maybe I want to re-roll the blank. That's when you can do, leading shots to re-roll that. So that is the timing of Intel Officer. It's very limited window. It's very specific, especially in situations where, let's go ahead and roll that attack pool again. Like, boy, that's a pretty awful roll for an ISD2. That's not a whole lot of damage there. But it's one of those situations I'm going to unexhaust this. It's like, I have leading shots. Can I threaten to get more damage out? Because right now, with only 4 damage, sure, 3 accuracies. But that really isn't going to be doing anything this MC80. I really need to put more of a threat, especially on that brace token. So, I'm going to take the risk. I'm going to exhaust this Intel Officer. I'm going to target that brace. And then I'm going to leading shots, the 1 blank and the 2 blue. And wouldn't you know it, I got a little bit better of a roll out of that. So now I'm threatening the use of that brace more. Because otherwise, if you if you roll poor damage, you're not threatening the token you now targeted, and you're not really getting the full benefit. And that's just them's the breaks. That's what happens sometimes. Why is the reason for that timing? Well, otherwise, if you tried to use this card in the spend defense token step, that also means if you've got accuracy icons, if you've got everything you need to kind of lock down tokens and then target the one. So the timing of this card is specific for that reason. It's supposed to still introduce an element of uncertainty for the attacker, and essentially having to go with your gut feeling of, do I use this card or do I not use this card? Because again, it's only useful for for one attack, because after you use it, it's exhausted and you can't use it again. Maybe you could have followed up with a second shot on something else that maybe you could have gotten more benefit out of. But that's Intel Officer. Let's go into interaction now for what was it saying before about why you can target your own defense tokens. Well, in the case of Darth Vader, the Admiral, or the Commander, you target and spend your own defense tokens when you want to do a reroll. Well, again, where is that beneficial at? It's with Devastator. So if you do have Darth Vader, you've got the Devastator title equipped to your ISD. You've got Intel Officer equipped to that ISD as well. So what Devastator does is that for every defense token you're missing, you gain an additional blue die. So a lot of people like to combo this with, let's take that same example again. We'll do the 4 red, we'll do the 4 blue. Which, wow, that's a pretty good roll. So now you've rolled that initial attack pool, and you're like, you know what? I'm going to Intel Officer. We're going to say, for example, maybe that was a blank, and that was a blank, and maybe this was another accuracy. So now it's not that good of a roll. But you want to get the benefit of Devastator, so you Intel Officer, and you want to reroll. So you Intel Officer, you target your own contain. Oh my goodness, I'm messing it all up. Here we go. You target your own contain with Intel Officer. Now you utilize Vader's ability and say, hey, I'm going to spend a defense token to reroll some of these die. You then discard your contain, because again, if you Intel Officer's timing is if it's spent, you discard it. So you can discard it. Now, before and again, you have to resolve Vader's effect. So now you re-roll the die. So the 2 red die, and I'm going to say I'm re-rolling these two accuracies as well. Now that all the qualifications have been met for that, now Devastator, it's again, because it's once per round while attacking, you're still in the while attacking phase. Now you can add in the extra blue die from Devastator and the 1 attack. So now you're rolling, 3 accuracies and a whole lot of hits on that. That's pretty good, even for an MC80. In this situation, you'd be able to lock the brace and the redirects, and you'd still, even through brace, really strip the shields off that whole zone. So that is kind of the combination that you can see with Intel Officer and how it works. Otherwise, of course, if you feel like anything's in error, got anything wrong, please be sure to let me know. There are no other clarifications or errata or any other crazy interactions that can happen. So if you do have anything, please be sure to leave a comment below. Otherwise, appreciate you guys watching. Hope you have a great day.